Hello,
Oh, hello.
I'm Sammy,
And I'm Steve.
and you're listening to or watching Roast Plate Special, the most dramatic canceled recap podcast of The Bachelorette ever.
Canceled? What do we do?
Well, no, I'm just
What did I
saying
do?
there's
It was-
no season.
Oh, that's true.
There's no season. What are we to do?
I just
What are
heard
we to do?
the most canceled podcast of The Bachelorette ever. And I was like, yeah,
We're the most canceled podcast. Everybody wants to cancel us.
yeah,
For
specific.
because we have unproblematic views. It's because that's how bad the fandom is. Oh, Culver's. Oh, I'm jelly.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you get
You
from Culver's today?
fucking
Culver,
Culver?
sponsor us.
Well, as a gluten-free boy,
Yeah.
not by choice, God has cursed me. I'm limited in my fast food options, but I can get food from Culver's because they offer a gluten-free bun. So I got
Wow.
a little gluten-free cheeseburger, a little Diet Coke, and some French fries. It was beautiful.
Way to go, Culver's. Way to be gluten-free accommodating.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. There is nothing better than putting your feet up after a long day of work, eating some crinkle cut French fries, sipping on an ice cold DC, and watching The Real Housewives of Rhode Island, which I'm
Wow.
very into.
Yeah, you were telling me you're watching it.
Oh, yeah. It's,
How many episodes in is it at this point?
it's just one. It's just the first one.
Oh, okay.
I
I
love
gotta
everything.
watch it. I only saw a clip of like Ashley and Jared, and they were at like their coffee shop or restaurant or whatever, and
Mhm.
and Ashley's just chilling on like the customer side, and Jared is like working very hard. And
Mhm.
what I read in the comments is that is actually accurate. That he like legitimately works there, and he works very hard. And sometimes when people come in and say they're fans, he'll give them free coffee.
Nice. I
Yeah.
I like the show because one, I just love the way they talk. I love the accents. People
It's
give
quite
Boston people
exaggerated. Yeah.
crap, but this is like next level. There's no the letter R doesn't exist. It's just an H. It's a very hard H. AH. There's one couple that has a daughter named Skylar. At least that's what I thought. And they're like, Skyla. And then they show her name and it's spelled Skyla. They just cut the R completely out. Just
Yeah.
Skyla. Love
Well,
that.
to make it easier.
Yeah, why bother? It's like the letter doesn't exist. But yeah, it's great. It's interesting that there's people who are actually working on the show, and housewife stands don't come for me. I mean, working in the sense of like, there's people with jobs where they have to be accountable to others and like have a boss, probably. One of the gals works as I don't know, like a medical esthetician salesperson. So she sells Botox or whatever. But that's like a job where you have to have a boss and meet quotas.
Right.
Obviously, like Real Housewives have jobs or their partners have jobs, but they're rarely ones where you have to be accountable to anyone but yourself. If someone from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, if their tequila company goes tits up, it's no big deal. If you're Jen Shaw and you commit serious crimes exploiting grandmothers, you go to jail for a little bit. That's fine. But here it's like, no, you got like a 401k. You got health insurance. That's crazy.
Yeah, those are like real grown-up jobs.
Yeah, real grown-up job stuff. So yeah. Shout out to Rhode Island, the closest thing we have to working class housewives. Also, confirms that Rhode Island is, I don't know, maybe it's like 3 feet long by 5 feet wide. I'm not sure. It's very small. But all these people are like, I've known him and his sister since kindergarten. It's like everything. It's amazing.
I feel like New Jersey was very normal at the beginning. So this is like probably the most similar to New Jersey, I would guess.
Yeah. It feels like New Jersey, but like less. I don't know. There's less like marble and leopard print and just general Americanized Italianness. But there is one woman who's like, I'm from a big Italian family. I got 9 aunts. She's great.
Is there Mackenzie Childs in the kitchens?
Wait, what's that?
Wait, do you know what Mackenzie Childs is?
No, well, actually, I don't. But you cut out for a second. That's why I asked. But I also don't know who Mackenzie Childs is. So do tell.
Okay. So Well, I feel like so by the way, I feel like I hear a lot of feedback, so I'm very sorry, audience. I feel like when we get to recording, I hear myself back with you. Oh, maybe something just fixed it. Anyway,
I turned down my
um
headphones a little bit, so if there's any noise bleed, it should be gone
oh,
now.
okay, good. Thank you so much. So okay, in Orange County, I know for sure, and I'm trying to remember what other housewives, but you'll see these like checkerboard teapots and things like that. That's Mackenzie Childs. And like it was kind of like a scourge across like all of the housewives. So I was just wondering if they also had Mackenzie Childs. It is now I we don't have time to well, we have time to do whatever we want, but there is like a whole Mackenzie Childs rabbit hole, because like the woman who initially created those like ended up like buying and living on like a boat, like a giant. And when I say boat, like it's like a giant ship, um, with her husband, and then they were like broke and stuff. And she was actually like a very cool, funky artist. It kind of reminded me of a little bit like the Ray Dunn story, where it was like Ray Dunn was doing like really funky, interesting shit, and then it became like mass produced garbage. Um, Mackenzie Childs is like similar to that, where like people always associate it with like tacky housewives bullshit, but like she
Mhm.
actually like did cool things. Maybe she's more like Mary Engelbright than than we think or whatever, but she just died, I think, like a
Oh,
couple weeks ago or something like that. It's really sad. She was like a really creative person. Anyway, not to, but okay, well,
now
I'll be watching it soon, so I'll let you know.
you should, and I want to say a lot of people are going like, "Hey, we tuned in for Bachelor. Why are you talking about the Real Housewives of Rhode Island?" And dear listener or dear viewer, let me tell you, don't be silly because Ashley from Bachelor in Paradise from like 7 years ago or something, she's on the show, and I think she won like Bachelor Winter Games with Kevin Went in
Mhm.
2017 or something. And then
Canadian Kevin.
she started dating whoever her husband is now when she's on Bachelor in
Jared.
Paradise. Jared, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
And now they
the
have
man she begged
27
to love
kids.
her.
Yeah. But no, her introduction is great. It just shows her inside of her house, and all of her kids are like pooping their pants at the same time.
Wow. Wow.
Awesome. With the
Yeah,
American dream.
I will be watching it for sure. I've actually been trying to so here's the deal, friends. We were thought we were gonna be doing a whole season on Taylor Frankie Paul. But the world had other plans for us. So, and we'll talk about it a little bit. And I want to relate some of what's happening to. I did read Rachel Lindsay's book, her nonfiction book, Miss Me With That. And I want to, she covers a lot in that book. So I'm not going to talk about it all, but I'll talk about some of it because I do think some of it is relevant to what is happening now. So I've been trying to catch up on The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because I was a Hulu holdout for a while. I will be honest. I said yes to a $3 a month for 6 months deal. After that,
Mm.
I don't know if I'm going to stay. Okay. But $3 a
Kinda
month for
lose
six
me
months,
at that
pretty
point.
good.
So,
Pretty cheap. So, yeah. So I've been catching up on Mormon Wives. I have not finished season 4 yet. Like I hadn't even watched season 3. So I just watched all of season 3. Um, and then I'm almost caught up on season 4, but of course I'm on TikTok, so I know what's going on. And
mhm.
then, oh my god, it's like seriously okay, my biggest takeaway, but we'll talk about we can get in more in the
Is
weeds,
mom
is
not
that
gonna survive this?
I don't know if dad talk's going to survive. I'm going to be honest with you. But
God,
I think,
I agree with that.
I really there's certain people I really okay, first of all, actually, you know what? Let's just get into it. Let's talk about Mormon wives cuz that'll lead us into the Taylor Frankie Paul of it all.
Mhm.
I just want to be so clear with all of you. I'm pointing at you now, everyone in the audience. If
Me
you're
too.
watching this, if you're listening, I'm pointing with my voice. I said, what did I say about Whitney from season 1? Everyone should listen to me when I talk because from season 1, I said, Whitney is the most fun TV. She's like, and I said, I'm not saying I'd be friends with her, but I do think she's the best one on the show.
Mhm.
And I think people are going to change their mind about her. And look at this how
She
the
was on
tides
the
have turned.
Zyway show. Did you see that?
Yes, she's in Chicago. Well, she's,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
Roxy Hart is the
No, 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 not
stunt
Chicago.
cast.
What's the her name's Zyway, right? The lady who interviews people. I've never
Oh,
actually watched the
Z-Way.
show.
I thought you
Z-Way.
said she was on Broadway.
No, no,
Sorry.
no, 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 no.
I
Z-Way.
heard
I'm sorry, I said
Broadway.
the name wrong. A bunch of people are gonna yell at me now. I don't
Z-Way.
watch the show. I'm the stooge. She's the smart one. Remember that.
You're cutting out a lot. Sorry. She was on Z-Way. Yes.
Z-Way. Okay. Sorry. I was just apologizing for getting everything wrong. The point is, I don't watch the show, but those clips pop up every once in a while. And I love watching Whitney get grilled because sometimes I feel like when I see those clips, like these people don't know what they're getting into. And I'm like, I don't even watch this show and I know what you're getting into. She was
Yeah.
just like, if somebody you saw was like, getting harassed for the color of their skin, would you use your privilege to help them? And she's like,
Yeah. I mean, some people were like, I was disappointed with her answers. I'm like, listen, they are all white women, Mormons, and a lot of them are actively deconstructing right now, which is another thing I said was going to happen. I said they're going to get some more fame and they're going to start deconstructing. And a lot of them are actively doing that right now, or at least starting to entertain it, including Jen, which I'm so happy about because I can't wait to see her fully deconstruct. I really hope that happens. But anyway, um, there's a lot of catching up to do, but I will say when it comes to I mean, Miranda, Chase, and Layla are like the most progressive on the show. They've always been and they're very open about it. And Chase, I it makes he really makes it hard to like him and he's pissing me off because I just want to like him and he's a
I don't
complicated fella,
it's
but
weird because my experience, my takeaway from the show is I enjoy all the women despite their flaws and in many cases because of their flaws. And
yeah.
I despise all the men for the same reasons.
Yeah, 100% agree. I pretty much like every woman on the show, even though I know, like, I would not personally get along with some of them. Um, and I don't like Demi, and I haven't ever. I mean, I just think she's way too two-faced. But I will say, like, I knew that Whitney was gonna have a comeback in a big way. And
Mhm.
yeah, what I was saying is she's in Chicago. She's doing Roxy Hart, which is like the stunt cast. That's what Ariana got, right? That's what
Yep.
Erica got. That's what,
Love it.
that's what they all get. So, but she's killing it. Like, and she won
She did a
dancing.
really good
Didn't she
job,
win
yeah.
Dancing with the Stars?
I think she came in second.
She came in second.
Yeah, she's
Sorry.
she's a very good
Sorry,
dancer. I
she's the
think
first.
I don't know if she's classically trained, but she, like,
Yeah,
w
she said that, didn't she, in the interview? Like, when they did I wanna say in season 3 when they did the interview with Dancing with the Stars, she said that she was, like, a trained dancer. So, like,
yeah.
she's got a background in this, you know so but anyway, yeah, like, I don't think she's gonna get to be exactly, like, where you want her to be. She's not gonna be saying exactly the kinds of things that Miranda says on TikTok, like, tomorrow. But I will say I feel like she and Connor are definitely, like, the best couple on the show, and I didn't necessarily expect that. I expected her to do well. I didn't expect her and Connor to both do well from season 1,
Mhm.
coming from, like, a cheating scandal and all of that. But and like I said, I haven't watched the whole 4th season, but I know that this happens. I love that Connor is like, "I get to stay home and, like, do magic and TikToks while my wife goes and, like, has a career and makes money. This is the best job ever." Like, he's just like, "I this is a dream come true." He's thrilled. And Zach, not so thrilled. Not so thrilled about having to stay home while Jen is the breadwinner. And that's why I like desperately I think Whitney will get there. Whitney and Connor are already like on their way to like, deconstructing and kind of like um getting out of the Mormon church, I would say.
Yeah.
Um but I think it's complicated because I do think their family is like very involved. So, but I feel like they're opening up they're opening up in a way that like, not everyone else on the show is.
Sure.
Jen, I
You
feel
know,
like
growing pains with that, and it's gotta be hard when you have to do that in public, but
yeah.
also you you should be media savvy enough to position yourself in better ways too. Like, don't stick your head out too far until you're ready to
Yeah,
actually
don't go on a show that used to be called Baited.
That's the whole thing.
Before Ziwe had her self-titled
Well,
show.
some of the other questions, she's like, So you and your husband almost split up because he was addicted to porn. What kind of porn does he watch? And she's just
Yeah.
like, I don't want to know. But like
Yeah.
visibly scared by what's going on.
Yeah, that was a bridge too far for sure. You have to like be pretty comfortable and roll with the punches or just be Caroline Calloway, I guess, and not
Yeah.
care. To like do okay on the show. Caroline Calloway did not do that well on the show, but she was, she's her own person. She did fine.
Oh, she exists in a
Sh-
totally different
Yeah,
universe.
she doesn't live on the same plane as the rest of us.
Do whatever.
Um
I mean,
but
literally
yeah,
life.
it's like you gotta like temper your expectations. And I think with Jen, the thing that's hard for me to watch is like Zach is such a trash human. And I don't think she's like she's toying with the idea of not dealing with it,
Mhm.
and perhaps the more she has opportunities outside of being at home, she will separate. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't think she'll ever get there with him as her husband.
No,
That's my thought.
no.
Um yeah, I know a lot of people say Miranda's boring, but like it's just cuz she's normal. She's like the most normal person on the show. And
Mhm.
so yeah, she's not good TV cuz she just seems like the only person that I would definitely hang out with.
Yeah, well, and that's why people it's so funny because people are yeah, they're like, "Oh, we don't like her because she's not weird." But then if you were to put her on any other show, like, for instance, she's one of the rumored people to replace, Taylor Frankie Paul on The Bachelor, and, she'd probably be fine at it because there
I
sure
think
have
she would I
been
think
a
she would be
lot of
fine.
normal blonde ladies on that show,
She
you
would
know?
carry herself
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and she
Just,
wouldn't.
like, comparatively to the Mormon wives, it's like if I had just, like, walked onto the set of The Muppets or something, and they're like, "Oh, you're not Doctor Teeth or Fozzie Bear. You're boring." It's like, "Well, yeah, because look what I'm surrounded. The great Gonzo just got shot out of a cannon. What do you want from me?"
Yeah, unless you're like Michael Caine or Tim Curry, you just don't stand a chance. So um yeah, I think with yeah, like the whole Miranda thing. Well, so then there was this whole rumor that like Chase and Jesse are like hooking up or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
So it was like there's just a lot of drama going around in the reality TV universes, and it's impacting everybody, which is really interesting because we've got like so I'm so happy that Jesse is divorcing Jordan because that man is such a weenie and a loser. Oh my
He's a
god.
weenie and a loser. It's again, like, every single relationship on this thing, you just pinball back and forth, and you're like, "What is wrong with everyone on this?" It's like,
No, but yeah, I mean, so it's interesting that like the couple that had the cheating scandal is like the couple I'm rooting for the most because that canonically would not be a thing that I would do. But I'm like, you know what? You both seem really good right now and like really happy and like pretty chill.
yeah.
So good for you. Enjoy your magic tricks and do you whatever.
Yeah, it's
Um,
season to season, it always changes, but you just have to choose the most or least stable person or couple and then just kind of ride it out. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because some of the couples that were kind of, like, quieter, like, I always forget Macy's husband's name because literally he, like, didn't talk at all, but then once this whole dad talk thing started, she's like, "Now he's starting to get an attitude." And I don't really like it. I don't really like the influence of these other men. But all the comments, like if you go on Connor's TikTok, all the comments say, like, when we're talking about dad talk, we're not talking about you, Connor. We hate dad talk, but we love you. Like everybody is like, it's like everybody went from being like, your TikToks are so cringe. You're both like so like embarrassing. You think you're funny. They're literally doing the same TikToks they've always done. And now people are like, you're hilarious and you're so charming and so funny. But I told you back then, I was like, I think their TikToks are actually pretty funny. Like, I always thought they were funny. I was like, people just don't like them because they're viewing them through the lens of the show
My
and
favorite
Whitney being a
TikToks
villain.
are the ones that Dakota makes, or no, not that Dakota makes, the ones that people make about Dakota where they're just screenshotting when he slides into their DMs.
Oh, I haven't seen those, but I have seen a bunch of Wuthering Heights, Taylor Frankie Paul and Dakota edits.
Oh, I mean, that works. That's
Really deep cuts, yeah. They're really good.
kind of a go
Um,
on him.
just like stay toxic, baby, a lot of that kinda stuff. Yeah, so, yeah, is there any other couple stuff we should talk about before we launch into this? I'm just trying to think. But yeah, so the drama before we get into that. So Jesse, there was like this rumor, and I think it happened because Miranda did post like flowers that Jesse gave her, whatever, that Jesse was like hooking up with Chase. And then like Chase posted a TikTok. See, this is why I like him. And I want to like him, but sometimes he makes it difficult. But he posted a video and he was like, my entire feed has been, and I can't remember he was like, this thing and this thing. It's been my whole feed. And people are like, really, Chase? Nothing else? Nothing else has been in your feed? He's like, not that I can remember. I just can't think of anything else that would have been in my feed. And they're all like, really? Not you dating? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I think that's very funny. But people are like, you must be so relieved because the summer house stuff happened and it just pushed all the Chase and Jesse stuff and the Taylor Frankie Paul stuff like off the map. Like it's
Mhm.
my whole feed has been summer house this, summer house that, Team Sierra. Obviously, I
I mean,
don't
that's the
know if
only
I even need to say
choice.
that.
You can't be on anyone else's team. But again, it's like it's the funniest thing ever, And every time one of these scandals pop up, I just feel like an old guy sitting at a bar, like puffing a cigarette, like, "Oh, is this your first one?" It's like,
First, yeah, not my first time. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So you've got Amanda over here, and you got Kyle over here. They get together, and Amanda clearly wants to have like a stable, normal relationship, and Kyle wants to continue to be a party boy well into his mid 40s. And then they split, which makes sense. And while they're splitting, Amanda's definitely mean to him, but he kind of deserves to get some meanness. So you have these two people who absolutely are butting heads that are absolutely terrible for each other. And you're just like, shit, what the fuck? And then, of course, but Amanda's able to come out of it unscathed, and she's about to get the Ariana treatment from Vanderpump, wherein you are
Mhm.
you are elevated. You get to go be on Broadway or do Dancing with the Stars or do whatever the hell you want. Be on Traders. I don't know. And she fumbles it because she has to date the guy who is just a slightly younger version of the husband that she just got rid of.
Seriously.
And he happens to be like friends with your friend group and the ex of someone that you considered a great friend. So the whole thing is terrible. Like, how do you fumble that badly? And the answer is because everyone's an asshole. Not Sarah, she's cool.
Yeah, Sierra, listen, I've always liked Sierra. I'm really happy. I mean, it sucks that this is why she's getting more love because people are always harsh to her.
Mhm.
And we can speak to the, double standards, the racist double standards between that and Bachelor Nation, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, I definitely think that, it's been a long time coming. Sierra has always been like a very consistent person, too. She's just like, been herself and been fine in Summer House like since the beginning, and people are unnecessarily critical of her, and all she wanted was like a good relationship, and West just like treats her like shit. He was someone I also wanted to like because he says a lot of really good stuff online, but
Mhm.
this is, like, honestly so gross to me. Like, it's just like, why did you have to do that? Like, like, you could have dated anybody else, like, why did it
Yeah.
have to be like, and for
Because these
Amanda,
are
it's
all
like,
just
this is,
like,
like, one of your best friends. Like, you do not treat another woman like this. It's fucked
yeah.
up. It's really fucked
They're
up.
just all goofballs. This is like just emotionally immature goofballs doing goofball stuff. That's why they're on reality TV. Like this, we every time one of these things happen, and people are like, "I just can't. I'm so disappointed. I can't believe it." I'm like, "This is exactly what we've paid for."
Yeah.
Oh, Tom Sandoval has cheated at Ariana. I'm sorry. Let me hit rewind back to 10 years ago at the Golden Nugget in Vegas. What's the line where?
Wait, yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
"You
me
made
and
out at the
Ariana.
Golden Nugget."
The Golden Nugget? That's disgusting.
And he's like, "What are you talking about? I love that place."
It's so good.
"What are you talking
Or
about? I love that place."
and it's like you just forget this stuff. Or if you again going back to Vanderpump, you look at Jax Taylor. Jax Taylor, not only does he not oscillate, because these people oscillate. We talk about Mormon wives. It's like every season is an up and down of who I'm hating and who I'm enjoying. Jax Taylor is constantly at scumbag level, just peak. He's cranked the scum dial to 11, and he's just riding that wave the whole time, never even dipping for a second. It's
The
amazing.
one time things were a little good was when he got that cooler that you could, like, scoot around on.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah,
That was really good. But
I
then
also like.
didn't James write it? And that was funnier. So,
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, I think the one little moment for Jax was when Scandival happened. Everybody forgot that Jax Taylor was Jax Taylor for 2 seconds, even though over the course of Vanderpump's entire run, he had a Scandival basically every single. It's like, how
Yeah.
are we on Brittany today? But just for like 1 minute, he just like walks in and he's just like, "Oh wow, man, everybody hates you now. That sucks, but it's pretty good for me."
Well, and he kept being like, "Well, I never lied about being an asshole. I've just been, like
It's like, "Sir,
everybody."
you
He's
lied
like,
all the
"Everybody's
time."
terrible." And I'm like, "I don't know. You like had sex with somebody with like a really old person in the room that she was supposed to be caring for and stuff. That was weird.
It's a weird one.
And you were cheating."
Yeah, and that's the thing too. He's like, "I never lied about it. Everybody knows I'm an asshole." It's like, no, everybody knows you're an asshole because you're bad at lying about it.
Yeah,
It's-
people just find out.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so weird. Yeah,
But again, it's like anytime this happens, whether it's Mormon wives, whether it's the Bachelorette, it's anything, it's like this is ultimately what we're paying for.
Mhm.
This is the commodity. Is there are no mistakes here. These people have been chosen for these shows for a reason, and the reason is you're going to get filmed every single moment of your life for a certain duration of time, and then a narrative will be constructed. And you've been chosen because there's a high probability you're going to do something you shouldn't do, and then you do
Yeah.
it, and it's on camera, and that's what happens.
Yeah, so let's get to the Taylor Frankie Paul of it all, because that's why we're all here today.
TFP, what's going on? Release the TFP season.
I
This is
know.
like my version of The Day the Clown Cried. Do you know about that movie?
Yes, of course I know about that movie. I also have a media studies master's degree.
This is what like 90 years from now to be like, release it from the vault.
But yeah, like it's, yeah, listen, I saw a lot of really good takes on TikTok. I agree that we don't know the whole story. And I think it's really weird timing that the recording from 2023 came out like the week the Bachelorette was supposed to premiere. I
Oh,
don't think that was a coincidence, and I think Dakota did it.
yeah. I mean, the man who spends every waking hours trying to sabotage her life because they're in
Yes.
this like mutually destructive relationship. It's yeah, of course it was him, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
well,
all
and it's
over
like
there.
it's so telling watching the season now, like after all this came out, now that like I'm watching it late, and people are, it's like, "Oh, before she went to go do press for the season, he like dropped this bombshell that he was like cheating on her with like one of her family friends. It was like one of her mom's friends."
Ew.
Seriously. And but then the problem with Taylor is she'll call and be like, "Did you like it? And like, was it good? Did you finish?" And all this stuff. And it was like one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever watched in my life. Like I was just like, I should not be here. I should not be here for this conversation. I should be gone. And then she's like, "Yeah, that kind of like, gets me excited." And I'm like, "Okay, so you are also toxic. Like, this is bad." But I do think he is extremely manipulative.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think she needs to be single for a long time. And I think but it's weird because she does have moments of clarity where it's like, "I'm so done with him, and, like, this is the kind of person I actually need." Because it sounds like her ex-husband was actually, like, a pretty decent guy, as
Mhm.
far as I can tell. She doesn't say anything really bad about him or anything like that. Seems like they co-parent pretty, amicably, but she says, it sounds like they just weren't I mean, with this whole swinging thing, it ruined their relationship, and they just weren't compatible, it sounds like, because she says, like, he's really introverted, he's kind of a homebody,
Mhm.
and then I went completely the opposite direction to this like, life of the party, extremely outgoing, person. And she's like, I feel like I need someone in between.
Yeah.
Um, Now there are rumors, since we're never going to see the season, I'm just going to say that there are rumors that she is with somebody that she got together with on her season of The Bachelorette.
Okay. Because the only thing
Can
I heard was, like, whoever finished the season with her as the winner, like, 3 months later, she and him broke up because Dakota. So
Yeah, I heard that too, but there was a video where it looked like this person's arm pulling her out
oh,
of
yeah, yeah,
frame, and it wasn't that long ago.
yeah. Okay.
So, it was like a couple weeks ago or something like that. So, hard to say. She could have recorded it at any time. She is like the queen of misdirects on TikTok. I mean, that's like how she got famous on TikTok. Was
Mm.
like lying about being 50 years old and talking about having like a ghost in her house and shit like that. And that like she and her husband were like maybe related, right? Like she did a bunch of random shit like that to like get famous on TikTok.
Engagement farming,
She
yeah, yeah.
like loves rage bait. Yeah. So it's like it's hard to say. She's very good at she's manipulative, but not in a way that like, I don't know, not in a way that feels icky. You know that she's doing it for like rage bait.
Fun.
Yeah, she's not manipulative in a way that's, like, destructive like Dakota, like, she's doing it for, like, shits and giggles or whatever. I don't really like that kind of, method of gaining engagement, but I don't think it's, like, the most malicious thing in the world. It's so messed up the things that he has done to her, and I like I said, I haven't even gotten all the way through the season, but I know that it was, like, right before she went on The Bachelorette, he was, like, messing with her again,
Yeah.
like, and, like, playing mind games and all this stuff, and, like, I mean, I would say that to me seems like narcissism or narcissistic traits or whatever. I'm not here to diagnose anybody, but to me, that seems pretty textbook, and I'm not saying that the things that she did in that recording were, like, okay or anything like that, but I do think it was weird that in the recording you hear him say very clear things. To me, it felt calculated. To me, it felt calculated where he's like, "Why would you do this in front of your children?" Like, it just felt like
Yeah.
there are
Yeah, but
certain
I'm gonna
words and
wind her up and
phrases.
set her off, but also, like,
Yes.
don't throw a kid and or don't throw a chair and hit your kid with it, you know?
Yeah, but I'm like, to me, it seemed like I don't know. It seemed
Don't
like
throw
she
your kid and
completely.
hit your chair either, for the record.
Don't
Don't.
throw your kid and hit a chair. No, that's not funny, but, anyway, it is a little. But, like, I'm not saying that, like, the things that happened were okay by any means, but I do to me, it felt like, yeah, I'm gonna wind her up and watch her go.
Mhm.
And I know that this is gonna set her off, and I'm gonna start recording at an opportune time. And so that to me felt really icky and weird. And there's plenty of, and the stuff that happened, I mean, yeah, we didn't see the recording a couple years ago, but Taylor did admit to pretty much everything that happened in that recording on episode 1, season 1 of the show.
Mhm.
So, it's not like it was, I mean, it was more than I thought, but also they talk on the show, they talked about how, like, she was so freaked out that she, like, peed her pants, and stuff like that, that she was, like, panicking and scared and all of that, and it's like that recording that got released didn't cover any of that side of the altercation either. So, and she talked about how, like, he provoked her as well. And you heard her say that, but that kind of got like, so anyway, there's bad shit happening all around. They should not be anywhere near each other. It is unfortunate that they are co-parenting. I think
Yeah,
that's very
yeah,
scary and
exactly.
bad.
It's like you've got
Yeah.
this woman who's prone to just emotional, violent outbursts and a guy who knows exactly what to do
Yes,
to set that off.
to like
It's like on
provoke her.
Pee-wee's Playhouse when you say the secret word and then everyone goes,
Yeah.
"Ah!" And Dakota knows the secret word to make Taylor go, "Ah!" So,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So it's just not good. It's not a healthy dynamic, and it is very risky. And here's the thing. Okay, I'm going to use this as a cuz somebody made this parallel and I thought it was really good. Did you watch Jury Duty? The show
The
Jury
Pauly
Duty?
Shore movie?
No, the Prime series with
No,
like James Marsden and stuff. Do you know what
I
I'm
did
talking
not.
about?
I'm familiar with its existence, but I have not watched a single frame of it. I will talk at length about the Pauly Shore film, though, if you'd like me to.
Okay, we can talk about we'll don't forget, we'll save it for the end.
I can't.
So
I haven't seen it since I was probably like.
we'll do a bonus at the end. No. So Jury Duty, for those of you who didn't watch it, was like an Amazon Prime series that covered this. It was basically like this guy comes in, he thinks that he's about to serve on a jury or potentially serve on a jury. And they do tell him ahead of time, hey, we're filming a documentary series at the courthouse. So there are going to be cameras, but you are a real juror. And he's like, okay, great. So he comes in, does the whole process, whatever. What he doesn't realize is that like everyone else is an actor. It is all a set, it is all a stage. They've just done a new season called Company Retreat, where it's the same thing. They hired this guy to come in to be like an assistant to the CEO. And they're like, you're going to come in and do work for a couple days. And then we have this company retreat and we need you to like assist at the company retreat. This is the parallel I'm drawing. People talk about how like these two men who have been on these shows are like the kindest people you will ever see on TV. They are so generous, so empathetic, so thoughtful. It's like candid camera, but it doesn't make you want to like rip your hair out. Or like punked, but like it's all the punked pranks are good. Like they're all like so they're all these like tests, like kind of moral tests and things like that. Like we put you in front of like someone who's kind of weird and we've waited to see what you would do. But because the producers have done obviously excellent vetting, they they want him to succeed. They want the main character to succeed and everybody is conspiring for him to succeed. So they put him in these situations that paint him in a great light, and
No.
they know he's a good person. So he just does what comes naturally to him. Like both of these men in both of these seasons are like the nicest people you've ever met. Like, they bring in someone who, like, you're like, maybe he's like a serial killer, like kind of a weirdo, whatever. There's like this guy on the show, and he like listen, it's mild spoilers for the first season that came out 4 years ago. Sorry if you missed it or skip past this for a minute. But there's like this character who like he creates like chair pants and things like that. Like, oh, I sit down and it automatically becomes a chair. But it's like very weird, awkward shit. And this guy goes, "Okay, I sat him down. They were like sequestered, so they were all in a hotel together, And
Mhm.
I had him watch A Bug's Life, because like this character, he's misunderstood and he's got these inventions and people just don't get him, and like, but he ended up saving the colony, and it was so great. And you're like, oh my god, this man thought like, oh, I see this person who's kind of like awkward and weird, and I'm going to show him an inspirational movie while we're hanging out. Like, this is all he came up with it himself. There's no producer interference. He thinks this is a real documentary, you know? It's just like unbelievable. So, I saw someone draw parallels there and say, if there are producers who can do such a good job that you end up getting not one, but two excellent humans on Jury Duty and Company Retreat, so much so that it's just like those shows are like a warm hug. You get such a nice, fuzzy feeling watching them. I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite things. Um, like they can do that level of due diligence for The Bachelor. And, like Rachel talks about in her book, there's a decent portion of her book dedicated to what happened when she was on the show and Lee got cast. It's like she basically said, like, you don't have to look far to see the kind of person Lee was. It was all over his social media. He was a
Yeah.
racist. It was very obvious.
Oh yeah.
Just like Garrett, and she talks about how um with like Becca, when she got with Garrett, like she didn't know because she was on the show. She was insulated from it. She didn't see a social media feed or anything. And when the show ended and she found out all this stuff, she and Rachel actually had some like heart to hearts and things like that. And obviously they ended up splitting, and that's for the better and whatever. But it's like they didn't protect her from a person like that being on the show. And especially with Rachel, she's like, that's dangerous. And
Mhm.
then you have this man on the show and he's picking fights with one of my all-time favorites, Kenny.
Mhm.
Like, what the hell is wrong with you? So then Kenny had to deal with that bullshit. I want to say he also picked fights with Eric. It's like, you know, it's so weird, and she's like, why? The only reason they would have someone on the show like this is to create that level of controversy, or they just didn't care enough. It's like, best case scenario is they didn't care enough to do a background check. Worst case scenario, they did a background check they knew and they cast him anyway.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that everybody knows pretty much that this is intentional. And what I
It
will say
has to be.
with The Bachelor, we've talked about how puritanical it can be, how moralizing it can be, the different rules that are established for what you can and can't do, and they all level back up to just like purity tests and chastity and things like that. And so you have all this stuff around there, and then you get to the end, and it's supposed to be happily ever after and married forever, right? Like that's the idea. But that's not the idea. Like, maybe that was, like, the initial nucleus of what they thought the show was gonna be, but they've kept all the puritanical bullshit, but happily ever after is boring because nothing happens. It's just
Right.
not exciting. You know what is exciting? When you pair a left-leaning woman or a black woman with a racist, and then they,
Right.
"Oh, you're making out with a racist? That's weird." Like, that's the kind of drama that we look for. And then there's people like us who are talking about it. And then it just keeps the discourse going in between seasons. It's all intentional. And so when you talk about Taylor's season getting canceled, it is so strange to me because you've got these two people that are an absolute powder keg, regardless of that video. Like, literally watch the show. How does season one episode one of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives begin? It begins with the police being called,
Right.
Taylor Frankie Paul crying, them throwing shit at each other, and Taylor getting arrested for domestic battery. Like, this happens.
Mhm.
You know exactly who you have cast. Uh, Everybody knew that these tapes were out there because Dakota said multiple times. Again, I don't pay that much attention to this shit. Okay. And I know this. It's not my job to research things, says the man doing a Bachelor podcast. But
Do your own
not my
research.
job. But what I'm saying is, like, I don't dig into all this stuff the way like some people on Reddit do or whatever, but you don't have to look far. Dakota's talked about these videos. He said they existed. He's just like, oh yeah, I could drop any one of these at any time. We know about the fights. We know about the arrests. We know about everything. The main villain here that we're all skipping is, Taylor Frankie Paul and Dakota are little henchmen, and there is a super villain above them, and that is ABC, the production company that does The Bachelor. They know what they're doing. And this is why it gets weird, because you know that you're dealing with a powder keg, and I don't know if they wanted her to just like blow up on the show or what they were hoping for, but to pull it completely seems very strange to me.
Mhm.
Massive waste of resources and money at a time when the series is floundering and they are actively trying to bring in a younger crowd, sort of reinvigorate folks. Why is Taylor on this season in the first place? It's because Mormon wives are more famous than bachelorette people now. That's just
Yeah.
the way it is. And to spike it because Taylor did the thing a few years ago in a video that we knew she already did multiple times is very strange to me. So I don't know. And at this point, it's not like they're sitting on it and it's just gonna go boop and pop up at some point, because from what I understand, they only like edited the first like 3, 4 episodes. Like, they don't edit that far in advance.
Right.
And so they're not even sitting on a whole season. They just kind of stopped. And that's, I don't know, that's a bunch of jobs, that's all kinds of things. And it's so weird. Like, why, if you're ABC, is this a tax write-off? You
Mhm.
shit? How is this working? I don't know.
Yeah, it's really weird. The whole thing is weird. I mean, gosh. Yeah, you said a lot of things and it made me think a lot of things.
Right?
I was just like, but yeah, I mean, I think what's really interesting is like, yeah, and maybe from here we should cover like a season of Unreal because it just feels like the right, I don't know, to me, I've been talking about doing that for a long time. It feels like the right thing to do to like talk about Unreal because that we can't hide, like it's so obvious that that is how producers are operating.
Mhm.
And like I said, and I strongly feel this way. I felt this way, way back when. Katie's season of The Bachelorette was one of my favorite seasons. And there was like no drama, and all of the men were crying all the time. And it was like one of my favorites. Like everybody got along, everything was good. It was a lot of fun. It was a good season. Katie was a great bachelorette. It was just like very easy. And so they could do that. They could go that direction. And I actually think people wouldn't mind it. Look at the bromances that we've had on the show that everybody loves, right? It's like, and just like the friendships, Rachel talks about in her book how she thought she was gonna like hate Alexis because of the all like "I'm a dolphin"
Or
thing, and
the
she goes, she
character.
ended up being like one of the most genuine people. They're still, well, at least at the time of writing the book, I'm sure they're still friends. She's like, we're still friends to this day. Like she was such a genuine, cool person. It's like there's a lot of fun, like Paradise, especially. When you don't just like cast everybody as like being pitted against each other, and they can have a little bit more fun. It's like I don't know. I find that very enjoyable. I don't want people to just like be fighting all the time on TV. Like yeah, I like mess, like Vanderpump Rules, like obviously, wow, the good old days. But the reason I liked that so much too was that they were all genuinely friends and like they all like hung out with each other every day. So it's just like they could do it a different way. It could be a different direction. They could put this together differently, and they choose not to. And not only that, but yeah, they choose to cast people who are highly problematic or just like messes. And it's irresponsible. Like with Taylor, like God, to watch her break down on TV when Dakota is like pulling the strings and messing with her, it's like
Mhm.
she needs to get and she can't get far away from him, but it's like, wow, she needs to get far away from this man because he is really messing with her. Plus, her family is not as supportive as they should be. I think they're starting to become more supportive, it seems like, but they really are hard on her as well. So it's like, I feel like she doesn't have a lot of places to turn to. And then to expose her to The Bachelorette, which is just such a high pressure environment with a ginormous audience.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's weird, but I agree with you. It is interesting to see how popular the Mormon wives got so fast. Like, um, and season 3, I wanna say it was, they were at, like, probably Stagecoach, right? And Lana Del Rey was like, "I'm such a huge fan," and they have, like, a recording of her being like, "So wait, is it all real? Are you all fighting or, like, what's happening?" Like, she was like, I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
know." And they're like, "She loves our show? Like, is this real life? This is so confusing, I can't believe it?" But
Mhm.
to see them permeate everything and yet still not cast Latia as the Bachelorette.
Mm.
What a choice. What a
What a
choice. Big
uh,
mistake.
I think and this is the problem, like, there is real value in owning the fact that you are a supervillain, all right? We were talking
Mhm.
about Vanderpump earlier. You've got Tom Sandoval here, you've got Jax Taylor here. They've both cheated a bunch of times, they've both done terrible shit, they're both kind of insufferable pricks. Jax Taylor, in my mind, is a step above Tom Sandoval because he's slimy. And he doesn't really think of himself as a TV villain. He thinks he's better than that. He thinks he's more than that. Where Jack
Mhm. Well, he's the
probably
number 1 guy in the group.
he's the number one guy in the group. Yeah, number one villain in the group. Be honest with who you are. There was a time, okay, where there was a reality TV show, ladies and gentlemen, called Bad Girls Club. And you know what they did? They cast women who were bad girls. It wasn't really much of a club aspect, but they were bad girls and they would fight and they would throw things at each other and they would scream and it was just constant conflict and it was basically designed around escalating their emotions and getting them to fight. And is that manipulative and bad and like exploitative? Yeah, you could argue that it is pretty convincingly. But also you're on fucking Bad Girls Club. Okay? So there's an expectation there. Don't tell me that you are the puritanical like bachelorette when it is quite clear the kind of strings that you are pulling behind the scenes. You understand?
Mhm.
If I go on the, you know, kick me in the dick happy hour on ABC and I get kicked in the dick, I'm not going to complain. But if
You're
I
not gonna be
walk
like,
on the
"I thought that this was okay."
yeah,
Yeah.
or if I walk on the you get a nice gentle hug from a soft teddy bear and then I get kicked in the dick, well then I'm mad because I wasn't
Mhm.
expecting that. And this is all they're doing. Like just be honest with who you are. Just be a scumbag. Don't be we had no, Taylor, what? She throws shit
She
and
she's
punches
been
men.
so good the whole time. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Yeah, it's like, I mean,
The thing we
yeah, like
absolutely knew would happen happened, and who could have predicted it?
right,
Not
it's
me.
like I mean, yeah, like Layla or Miranda would be good choices. They're not
Mhm.
gonna cause that kind of problem. They still
Yeah.
capture the same audience, and it's
Oh,
much
but it's not Taylor Frankie Paul though, because
right.
Taylor comes you're doing the gamble, right? Because like there's a little bit of extra juice there. Like it's exciting.
Right, exactly, but that's what I'm saying, but it's like they have the same fandom, and it is more up their alley in terms of, like, their personalities are well suited for the show. They're the kind of women that you would see on the show become the Bachelorette. So that's, like, not so much of a leap, and I really thought they were gonna go with Latia, and I was like, "That's smart." It's, like, basically a crossover. That's how you get a lot of success sometimes when you do a crossover, that would be good for both franchises. But, yeah, I think they flew too close to the sun with this one,
Mhm.
took a ridiculous risk, and it's yeah, not paying off. But I do think there are some very weird double standards because it's like there have been absolutely terrible people on the show who have done awful things. S- One of them still has a freaking platform, okay? One of them was on Traitors, and so I didn't watch it because that guy. And I wanted to watch it, but between him and Michael Rappaport, I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested. Sorry, can't do it.
Rappaport is so funny. He's the worst guy in the
He's
world.
a terrible human, but it's like,
Yeah,
okay, you had a former bachelor, by the way, was my favorite bachelor until the whole stalking thing
yeah,
because I was like, God, he's just like neurotic. Well, foreshadowing, and like eats just snacking constantly and on his little self cam, and I was like obsessed with that, and I really wanted to like him forever, and of course he had to go and be so weird and put a tracker on his ex-girlfriend's vehicle, and that is so fucked up to a level
mhm.
that I just can't even anyway.
Well,
And
and
he
he's
still
really annoying
gets
on the traders,
but
and
he
he
gets like
also
good edits too,
yeah,
and I'm
he
like, what the hell, does
that's
nobody remember?
yeah. Even though he's
It's
kind of
awful.
like I don't know, he's the kid telling the teacher she forgot to assign homework. Like that's the kind of traders player he is.
Ugh,
Is
what a
annoying.
weenie.
He did got a really he's a weenie. He's a weenie, but he got a good edit. Rappaport, you could not give him a good edit if you tried. Like
Well,
there's
he's just like a terrible person. There's no good edit to have.
amazing because it's just like you gave Michael Rappaport a platform. Well, it's like, yeah, but watch what he does now. And he's the worst man. Everybody hates him. Production hates him. The rest of the cast hates him. America hates him. He eats weird with his like his
Yeah,
little
I saw that. Listen, justice for Ron Funches, 100%.
right.
What the hell? Why were people mean to him? Fuck all of you. Um, if you have just started to like Ron Funches, might I suggest watching the TV show Loot? It's wonderful. It will also give you warm fuzzy feelings. It's so good. It's so good. And Ron Funches has like a friendship on that show, which like makes me happy every time I watch it. So you should all watch that, those guys. But yeah, like I'm just like, look at that. And like look at like Chad and like Luke and like some of the men who are on the show who were absolutely vile, disgusting people. And you're like, well, I'm okay with that. But anyway, not that I think she should necessarily have ever gotten cast in the first place. I was pretty shocked when they cast her. I was like, this is an interesting, different
Yeah.
kind of a thing. Um, so to say that I'm, like, so surprised, like, I'm not, like I'm surprised that they still didn't air it because of how much they love money and ratings.
Well, and they did a
Yeah.
teaser episode. They did the episode 0 that was up. Did you see
Mhm.
that?
No.
It's kinda wild. So it's just like introducing her to the world. I don't think it's like quite a full episode. It's probably like
Was
30
it the
minutes.
one where, like, all the former, like, bachelorettes were
Yeah,
hanging out and
you're
stuff?
you're in our club now
Yeah.
forever. You're one
Okay,
of
I saw that,
ours.
yeah. Some
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
The episode 0. So that's like around. So that's all there is. That's like the surviving element, which is so strange. Is
It's
she still in the
so
show?
weird.
Does she count? If
What'd
it's
you
ever
say?
aired? Is she still I'm still counting her as a bachelorette, even if her season never airs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it still counts. I mean, I just don't know where we go from here. Like, but I will say, okay, so I read Rachel Lindsey's book, as I mentioned, Miss Me with that, and like she covered a lot in the book. Okay, like a lot, like her whole life. But now she said she's going to come out with a divorce book next, which I'm really excited about because it was, like, honestly physically uncomfortable to listen to the book anytime she said something nice about Brian. I was like, because she was like, "It's just so nice to have someone who, like, has these positive attributes," and I'm like, "Oh, no. I'm listening from the future. This is awkward."
Yeah.
But she is very open about, like, the whole, like, "No, Peter was not right for me, and everyone needed to stop saying that he was." She made it pretty clear that Eric was her second place choice.
Mhm.
It was not Peter. It wasn't ever Peter. She was like she really liked Eric. And I'm trying to remember. I want to say it was just like she wasn't sure he was like totally ready to like get to that serious stage. I think that's kind of the way that she had characterized it, where it was like he was good, but he wasn't, like, all the way there, and I mean, you can tell how much she liked him just based on and I talked about this at the time, how much producers, like, started to, like, pay more attention to him and, like, and they're like, "Oh, like, let's give him, like, a really nice edit and dress him up and whatever," but she said, like, he was really, like, one of the most positive, like, wonderful people that she met on the show. Um, and Peter just like yeah, there were certain things that like gave her pause about him besides the whole like she was pretty sure he just wanted to be the bachelor. She was like, I just didn't think he was into me, the way that he needed to be, and like the audience saw this one thing, but I felt differently, and I believe her on that for sure. But she talks about like the whole experience, like getting to the bachelorette, and she had had, like, a couple, like, kinda on again, off again relationships with, like, different men, and she covers a lot of those relationships in the book, and it's really interesting. And she also talks about kind of um, her school experience, her law career, all of that. But, like, she was with some men who were, like, kinda emotionally unavailable, and it was like, "We're good. Now we're not good. Now we're good." And then, like, I wanna say there was, like, a guy that she dated, I think it was the last guy she seriously dated before going on The Bachelorette, where, like, he kinda, like, disappeared off the face of the earth and then, like, was having a baby with another woman, and she was like, "Oh my god, what the hell?"
Well,
So,
that's about
it was kinda like a, "What the hell? Why not? I'll just do this for fun," kind of a thing, like, I'll just be a contestant on the show because why not? And there was, like, casting in her city, and she was just like, "Well, nothing else is going on for me, so I might as well, do that." And it was like her and her friend, like, went to do it or whatever. If I remember correct. It was a little while ago that I read the book, couple like, a month or so ago. Um but yeah, so she gets on, Nick's season and, has a pretty good experience and then, just yeah, gets asked to be the bachelorette and all of that. But she's talked about how, to be the bachelorette, the first black bachelorette, she took it really seriously. She
Mhm.
also knew like she's like, it's gotta be someone like me, like
Yeah.
a lawyer, an accomplished woman and all of that. And she was like she talks about how she felt like she always had to kind of ride the line, like, between really showing how she felt well,
Mhm.
because one of the experiences that was not great on Nick's season, I should say, was that she and Vanessa did not get along.
Yeah.
And they hid a lot of that from the show because Nick ended up with Vanessa, so they wanted to make Vanessa look good. Um, I as far as I know, it sounds like maybe they smoothed things out a little. I don't quote me on that. I don't remember, but she had other good relationships in the house, thankfully. But she was very concerned about being portrayed as like an angry black woman, and so she was like really trying to kind of temper the way that she was on the show.
Yep.
And she did spend quite a bit of time talking to producers about that as well, because she's really smart. And so then when she became the Bachelorette, she wanted to make sure that that she was portrayed in a way that could pave the way for more, black bachelorettes, more women of color to be bachelorettes on the show.
Mhm.
And I do think she played it really well. I still think she's one of the best bachelorettes we've ever had, and I've said that
Right.
plenty
I
of
mean, she's
times.
like a pro. She's
Yeah.
one of those people where it's like, she doesn't stand out just for, like, entertainment value or something like that, but as far as, like, people who took it seriously and
Yeah.
were able to, like, command the screen, did a great
She
job.
has really great presence. Well, and she talks about in the book too, which I didn't know, that she wanted to do basically sports casting and things like that, or she wanted to be like a sports agent.
Mhm,
She's really into sports, and her her parents were like, well, we want you to be a lawyer. So she was kind of always trying to find because I want to say Marquette has a sports law program,
mhm.
if I'm correct. I don't know. But
Seems
that's why she
seems
went to
about
Marquette.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, she went to Marquette, for that reason after, I think she went to UT, I think.
Mhm.
And then after that, she went to Marquette for,
Very
law
impressive
school.
resume, by the way.
Yes, 100%. So, it's she has a great career, but she also always had that side of her that she wanted to, be in entertainment in, an announcing, hosting kind of a way, or do, agent work or what, all of that, interpersonal work that you can tell she's really good at because, she carries herself so well on the show, and this was all by design. She was very intentional about how she wanted to come across. She talks about that in the book. And she also, which I think is really smart, and anyone who's ever the Bachelorette should listen to her, listen to this piece of advice. She specifically scheduled regular meetings with the therapist who was cast or who was hired for the show. So she required, I want to say, weekly meetings with the therapist to make sure, because she had gone to years of therapy before she was on the show, which
Okay.
is another reason why she wasn't a mess on the show, because she had been through a lot of relationship stuff. She talks about this pretty openly in the book, and she's like, and I went to therapy and got better, and was in a really good headspace when I started doing the shows.
Yeah.
And she wanted to make sure that continued and that she didn't fall into common traps the producers like to set. So she, required, as part of course, she worked on rewriting her contract when she became the Bachelorette because she knew she would
She's
have
a
more
lawyer, yeah.
control over it. Yeah. Because you don't really have control over it when you're a contestant. It's like, no, we're not making any changes. You're just gonna have to go with what's in here. But when she became the Bachelorette, she was like, no, we're gonna tweak some things in here because otherwise I'm not gonna say yes.
Mhm.
Um, so it's so she talked about just on a recent podcast where it was seen as such a risk to cast her as the Bachelorette because, oh my gosh, the first Black Bachelorette, what a risk. What if nobody watches? What if no one's interested?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And she's like, and yet you didn't think it was risky at all to cast Taylor Frankie Paul, someone who's got all this mess going on in their life. That wasn't risky to you, but
Oh,
I was a liability.
yeah.
Okay,
Liability for
right.
ratings, yeah, that's all
Right,
they
exactly. It's just ridiculous. And so I guess Rachel was on a podcast not too long ago, and she talks about, she basically said that she believes Bachelor and Bachelorette was tainted. And where do you go from here? And maybe it's over. And maybe it is over.
It feels like that's the direction they've been cruising in for a
Yeah.
while. Like,
Yeah.
this is not a show on an upward trajectory. It's seen as kind of like old hat, little dusty. Um, there's been a series of disasters from a PR standpoint, from a financial standpoint, like, it's not in a good place.
No.
If you're gonna take old Yeller out behind the shed and shoot it, this would be the time to do it because there's really it's hard. It's hard. I don't think after the initial Golden Bachelor and Golden Bachelorette, I think that fizzled. I think they haven't found a way to really find a way to kind of hook a new audience. They tried a new editing style that was
That was
evident
abysmal.
not great. It just
Mm-mm.
made it look more like Love Island, and I think, I believe I compared it to the Steve Buscemi meme where he's dressed like a high school kid holding a
Yeah.
skateboard. How you doing, fellow kids, or how do you
How
do,
do you
fellow
do,
kids?
fellow kids? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Rock band.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sure. That's pretty much what they're doing at this point. And you either lean into the fact that you are what you are, or you're gonna have to just hang it up. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I think, and where do we go from here? That's what everybody wants to know. That's what the
Everyone
fans
knows.
wanna know. Where do we
Uh,
go from here?
well, if our cash cow is put out to pasture, where then does the podcast lead us?
I think we've got plenty of things to talk about, so regardless, we can find other things to talk about.
Mhm,
Like I mentioned before, I do wanna start working more on some horror stuff, and we're both horror fans. So,
mhm,
you'll
mhm.
definitely be able to find us there. Pop Culture Diner was always created to be something where I covered more than The Bachelor. It just kinda so happened that I covered The Bachelor a lot. So, we'll figure it out. And there's plenty of Bachelor Nation stuff to still cover. Like, there's plenty of books, there's plenty of old seasons, there's, like, plenty of stuff to rehash that I think is interesting and people are interested in. I mean, one of our most watched episodes was, Courtney's book. I think
Mhm.
that is our most watched episode,
That was a fun one.
behind, like, the Mormon Wives season 1 recap. Those were, like, our 2 most watched
People
videos.
crazy for Mormons.
Yeah, and I mean, and I am fascinated by Mormons, and I have been fascinated by Mormons since like the early 2000s, early blogging days. So, I always am happy to talk about Mormons because I am fascinated. But yeah, I think, yeah, we'll have to see where things go from here. I do have some good news to round out the show, and that's that
Oh.
our Jilly box tariffs are lower now.
Oh, thank God.
Instead of paying $100 Canadian, it went down to, I think, like 39, 29, 39, something like that.
Okay,
Much
okay.
lower tariffs. Thank you, Jelly. Oh, this was a question I was gonna ask you too. I think this is a really good closing question.
Ooh.
Somebody posted something on TikTok, of course, where it was like, who do you think from Bachelor Nation is so far removed from the show that people like don't like has done so much after the show that people don't even associate them with The Bachelor anymore? And I had some names and like nobody said those names, which I thought was really interesting. So I'm curious what names come to mind for
Someone
you.
who, like, transcends The Bachelor into the stratosphere.
Yeah, to the point where people don't even like think about that they were on The Bachelor anymore.
Yeah. Huh.
Or might have found them through I mean, I think Gabby's, like, an easy, like, early like, a lot of people don't know that she was on The Bachelor, they found her
Yeah.
through other means, but
She's just
I
funny.
think there's better examples than that even.
Yeah, it's hard because I I'm thinking pretty recent, and I wish I
Mhm.
could go back a little bit more and figure it out. Um, First person that comes to mind is, I mean, Gabby for sure. Nick Vile is interesting because he's got his podcast now,
Yeah.
and it's hard because, yes, people just think of him as the podcast guy,
Mhm.
but he's the podcast guy who only talks to reality TV show people, and, like, that's kind of his in, you know what I mean? But that
Mhm.
doesn't mean it's almost like a football coach who used to be a player. You just sort of you forget that they used to do the other thing, and now they're just sort of
Right.
adjacent to it. Uh, so I can't separate him from The Bachelor, but I think if you're of a certain age and you didn't watch when his season was when, like, he was, like, actually on the show, then it's easier to forget. I don't know. Who are the names that come to mind for you? Because I
Okay,
feel like
my
mine
mind
are obvious. This is, like, what the comment section was.
yeah,
Probably.
my mind was immediately Travis Stork. I was like, I don't think anybody thinks of Travis Stork as being on The Bachelor. If they know him, they think of him as being on that show, The Doctors. Remember the show, The Doctors, that daytime talk show?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay.
Yeah, Travis Stork, I think, is a really good one. Although I don't know if he's really relevant anymore. I was just like looking him up. I was
Yeah.
like,
It's
is
like
he like doing anything these
10
days?
years ago. 10 years ago.
I mean, I think he is still a television person. Oh no, it ended in 2020, but it ran from 2008 to 2020.
Wow.
That's a
Okay.
long time, and
Long
he was on The Bachelor season 8, so that was, like, a long time ago, you know?
time. Yeah, he
So
had a run where, like, yeah, daytime moms probably knew him more from that than they would The Bachelor. Because
yeah, so I
the
thought of
last season of that, like, if it was, like, 2018, 2019, 2020, Like, he's so far from The Bachelor at that point, he's just the TV doctor guy.
Right.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did the show for 12 years. Like, that's a long time to do a show. The other person I thought about was Allie Fedotowsky, because I feel like a lot of people don't think about Allie as being on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and she still is on E! News, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there you go.
Yeah. So she's been on E! News since 2013.
Wow.
And
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
that's a good one.
I think a lot of people don't think about Allie as being as,
Oh, that's a
formerly
dream
being The
job
Bachelorette.
too. Oh, let me just, like, be on E! News. What's George Clooney doing? I heard he moved his family to France. Great.
Right.
That's your
Like,
job?
she's
Very
a
cool.
and yeah, I don't I think there's a ton of people who would watch E! News now and would never think of her as being on The Bachelorette. So, those were the 2 that I said, because someone said Trista, and I'm like, literally, she is the first Bachelorette. She cannot separate herself from that
No.
at all,
And she doesn't
you know?
what does she do outside of that? Like, that's just her
N
thing,
y
right?
Yeah, not real yeah, like, she's done some
If I
shows,
can't
but they're
name
all, like
your other job, then you don't
right.
count. I'm sorry.
So, like, I think Rachel is a good example though too, 'cause she's got a podcast. She's got, like, a couple podcasts, and she does extra, right? And she's done, like, she worked for ESPN for a hot second, so I don't know if she's still doing stuff with them. She's like, she does a lot of entertainment stuff, but I also feel like it's hard to extricate her from even though she has kind of removed herself from Bachelor Nation, it's like, because she's the first Black Bachelorette, I feel like there's always gonna be a tie, just like with Trista, there's always a tie, even if she, like, was doing a bunch of other stuff.
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily think that was just one of the people in the comments, and then a bunch of people said Jilly, because what I don't realize, because I just completely associate Jilly with The Bachelor, is she did have this lifestyle blog, and, like, that's why she has all these subscribers and stuff like that, and they view her through the blogger lens and not as someone who was on The Bachelor or Bachelorette, because, like, she did that. I think there was, like, a period of time where she wasn't really doing much of anything, and then, like, her blog was building up, and so people just came to her, like, around the time, that, like, that kind of blogging, that lifestyle blogging was really popular. So
Mhm.
there are a lot of people who said Jilly too, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting," because I can't think of her as anything else either, but my 2 best examples were, like, Travis Stork and Allie Fedotowsky. And it might have been Jesse if he hadn't come back to the franchise. But
Right?
he came back, so it's a little different,
Yeah,
but
no, it's
I
hard.
would say that
He definitely came
I
back.
think they're the 2 best examples that come to mind for me, so I was curious if you had ones.
Yeah, no, Nick Viall is the I guess the only one, that other than Gabby, but Gabby feels so obvious at this point. Uh, but yeah, I love the doctors guy. That's
I know.
crazy.
'Cause I really sometimes I forget. I'm like, "Wait," 'cause, like, I'll think I hallucinated, and I'll be like, "No, he was on The
Who watches
Bachelor,
that?
wasn't
Who
he?"
watches that? Imagine if you
The
met someone
doctor.
and like, "My favorite TV show is The Doctors." Yeah, like, what is wrong with you?
That's just like the show that's on when you just, like, don't. I'm currently listening to the book Lessons in Chemistry, and they talk about, which is, like, about, like, this woman who is a chemist, and this is, like, it's a fictional book, but it's a woman who's, like, a chemist in, like, 1960, and, because of sexism, she be she becomes, like, a television host where she does, like, a dinner show, like, during the
Oh, you
afternoon
read the book?
slump.
I watched the TV show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, look at you.
Yeah, it's called Being Fancy. Mhm.
I will watch the TV show, but yeah, anyway, well, for those who are unfamiliar, and it makes me think of that. It's like, that kind of stuff comes in that slump where, like, it's like, well, you could put anything in just to
Yeah,
wake somebody up or whatever. It's like that's like you're getting off the bus and the doctor's is on, so you quick switch it to Fresh Prince or whatever.
yeah.
Not not an experience I ever had, because
The
those two.
View meets Dr. Phil. What could possibly go wrong?
Right, yeah, it's like, we
That's
don't just have one doctor who ends up becoming a Maha doctor, we have, 4 doctors or whatever, and they all weigh in on something,
guys, what if
and
we had a Quad Oz situation?
yeah, so anyway, everybody remember Travis Stork was on The Bachelor, and that was, like, a big deal because it was like, yeah, like, the whole marketing was like, "And he's a doctor." You
Mhm.
know? It was like when Firestone was on, and it was like, "Ooh, he's a millionaire," or whatever, and then it was like, "And he's a doctor," like, that was when they were, like, really trying to make people look impressive. That's when they tried to make Ben Flajnik look impressive, if you'll remember back that far, friends. They tried to make him look, or Flonick. I've been saying his name wrong all these years. I remember now when we did Courtney's book. Um, anyway, friends, I don't know what we'll be doing next. Do you have ideas for what we're doing next? Otherwise, you'll just see us probably
Wherever
in a
the
couple
wind
weeks.
takes us.
Yeah, we'll figure out something. We'll share more. But I will say I do recommend Rachel's book. I thought it was really good. I've read a lot of like Bachelor Nation books and I listened to this one, which was fun, and she narrated it. So I really enjoyed that. So if you can get a copy of the audiobook, she again, like she does like extra and stuff. So she's like good at narrating her own book. It's like sometimes when, it's like a celebrity or reality star and they narrate their own book, you're like, who told you to do this? But she's like perfect at it. So it's very entertaining. I recommend it. And maybe we'll come back with her fictional book. Because you didn't get around to reading that. You had to have a sinus infection.
Yeah, sorry. Little boy with the sniffles.
Yeah, how dare you? Um, anyway, but yeah, that's all I got. I don't know. You got anything else? Got anything to plug?
Nothing to plug. I wish
Oh,
I had
okay.
something to plug. I'm like looking around like I'm just gonna pick up something and be like, I'd like to plug. No, I got nothing. I got nothing.
Okay, well, friends, we will see you probably sooner than later because we like to talk to each other. We'll find some things to talk about. But until then, Easter just happened, spring has sprung. Make sure to get outside when there's good weather and appreciate the blessings around you.
Yeah, don't do needle drugs. I think it's a curse. Honestly, ending the show. What a plug, Culver.
Culver, sponsor us.